Welcome back. Lisa, let's assume that a partner is wants to stay in the relationship. They're working through whatever issues they may have, so they're not ready to leave. What are some steps that they can take to protect their household finances? We've talked about sort of monitoring accounts, perhaps stopping the bleed if it means canceling things. What else can they do?
Two important things that we always advise. Number one being educate yourself. Some people, some couples are both educated about their assets and their partner's assets. Some people, you would be so surprised, have no idea what's going on with the financials. So education is very important. And the second thing is, as drastic as it may sound, it's not. If you've got actual assets in the house or in the apartment that you don't want being stolen or pawned by your spouse because of their addiction, hide them. We had one case where a female had teapots and silverware that was inherited from her mother, and so valuable. And she made sure to store them away because she was so scared that her spouse at the time was going to take them and pawn them off. Another one of my clients was not so forward thinking, and she refused to hide the gold bars that she had, and they miraculously went missing. And of course, the spouse at the time denied that he had anything to do with it.
Wow.
So protect your assets.
Yeah, I've seen situations like that as well, Lisa, and I'm sure many of our viewers can relate or probably have know people who've gone through this as well. Let me ask you, do they have to think about changing some of their big sort of estate planning documents like wills? Is this the time to think about things like that?
It, it's always a good time. We don't do wills ourselves, but we're always telling our clients every year you should think about what your will says. And if you're happy with what it says in case, God forbid, something happens. And if you're not, with respect to your assets and or your children, you want to speak to and consult with a lawyer who deals with wills and estates.
Okay. What if they decide that they do want to leave the relationship? So they worked things, they can't work things out. It's not getting any better. What does the partner of the person who is addicted have to do and think about?
What's really important is to accumulate proof of all their assets and their liabilities, because one thing that the family law lawyer is going to tell them is that we have to figure out for them how much property, so to speak, or a value of that they're going to be entitled to. And we actually take a snapshot on the date of separation of all assets. And assets can include bank accounts, gold bars, pensions that need to be valued, the matrimonial home. So the more information you come equipped with to the lawyer, the better for that.
So this is really interesting, and you hit on something, Lisa. You actually have to file, I'm assuming, for a legal separation, and it's what you owe at that date, right? What you own and what you owe.
No, you don't actually file. A legal
Okay.
separation is when one party has the intention to separate,
Okay.
but on that day is the exact time that crystallizes the amount of the assets and debts. So we actually take a look at your bank accounts on that very day and see, and numbers can fluctuate because stocks can be one thing on December 5th and very different on December 7th. So the date of separation is very important.
Okay. Let's switch gears then and talk about the financial impact and divorce for, quote, I guess, normal situations. So where, the person, there is no addiction in the relationship. What do they need to think about then? Is it similar steps or is it different considerations?
Well, with respect to money, it's similar because the lawyers, pursuant to family law, at least in Ontario, are always going to look at the assets on the date of separation compared to the assets and debts on the marriage date. And we figure out for clients what they're going to walk away with or what they're going to have to pay. So again, knowing what you have, both debts and assets, even if you hold assets and or debts jointly with other people, is really important. And knowing your cash flow, because knowing when I separate, I'm only going to have one household income and I'm going to potentially have to be paying out money to my spouse or ex-spouse. So can I make this work and how am I going to make it work?
Okay. We only have 30 seconds, Lisa. Just going back to, I guess, the addiction piece. If you are separating, is it like a no fault situation? Like I know some people say, well, he or she caused the problem, which means the ruling will be in more my favor.
No, it's a myth. It's a no fault system, both with affairs and money. Basically, you've made the decision to be with this person. So until the date of separation, the monetary affairs are going to be considered under the family law.
Okay, we'll take another quick break. We'll be right back.